Right, so let's set this up. Yeah, so I'm just going to discuss a little bit today about Andrew Tate and the fact that he's gained overnight massive popularity and also notoriety. Um, do I think Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are right for pretty much cutting him off from the world? No, no, I don't. I think it's dangerous. I think if anyone has any views, um, that people will have opinions, and they're free to say them because we live in a free world. We're a free society. Um, and if you cancel him at this stage of popularity, it's only going to spawn more people saying their piece. There's a million people like him. I actually commend him for being brave and standing up for what he believes in. Does he hate women? Of course he doesn't hate women. I think he's like he said. I've just reviewed his final message, um, and yeah, it's I'm not condoning everything that he has said or that he stands by. Um, but I don't think he's being treated. He's being treated awful. Like I think there could be a serious legal case. The problem is, things like Twitter and YouTube. If you're banned, that's it. They don't have to give you a reason. But he's not standing on an altar spewing hate speech. He's entertainment. That is why people constantly need to be entertained. So when he comes out and he says things like, the majority of women are lazy, or he hasn't said this. I'm just making something up. Um, Women are intrinsically lazy. There are a hell of a lot of women who are intrinsically lazy, but then there are also a lot of men who are intrinsically lazy. Um, it's like the thing that he's looking at is like the divide. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Men think more logically when it comes to money and things like that. Do I think he should be cancelled for having this view? No. If you don't like his views, don't watch him. Don't watch him. I really don't understand it. Like I'm not his biggest fan, but I feel as though we're getting to cancel culture is something that affects all of us. I'm a big fan of comedy, and now we're coming into a certain age where recently I've seen um, like British comedy classics such as Faulty Towers, Blackadder, Little Britain. They've all been cancelled or taken off or shut down or censored from Netflix and these big companies because they're too scared of the fallout. But there is no fallout. If people watch these videos for what they were intended for, um, as a joke, but these days you cannot say anything about anyone, with a protected characteristic. Um, But saying that, Netflix, I think they turned around, and BBC iPlayer. So I think Netflix re-added one of the comedies. BBC iPlayer re-added, I think, Little Britain or Faulty Towers. So they've taken it out, and there was such outrage. There was such an uproar, that they said, we can't take this off. There are things in comedy that I don't agree with. Death. You shouldn't joke about death. the Holocaust, 9/11, things like that, because these are true human tragedies. Um, and no matter how funny you think your joke is, you know, there was a loss. People have suffered a loss, and there's people still living to this day who have to deal with things like that. But comedy is provoking an emotion. Marilyn Manson, he was someone else that has recently been cancelled. Very intelligent, shy individual. Um, Not too dissimilar to Andrew Tate, apart from the makeup. But once Rolling Stone put out their piece that he was an abuser, this, that, and the other, I've taken a deep dive on that, and I've actually got videos on my channel. So go and search them, and it will give you a full in-depth look into the situation that he's currently facing. He's brought a claim against his former partner for defamation, and I think it's going to be a long drawn out process. But I think he's innocent. You know, as soon as the money has gone away, as soon as he's removed himself from their life, you know, 10 years later, they say, well, that's not fair. What? I don't understand that. But with cancel culture, it's if you look to China currently, I saw something yesterday. The new Minions movie, The Rise of Gru. I took my daughter to see it. We enjoyed it equally. We thought it was the best one of the trilogy, and we've had to wait for it because of COVID. And you watch it, and she loved it, and we laughed, and we had a great time. China has just changed the ending. Let me try and get this right. So, spoiler alert: Gru and I think Wild Knuckles, you know, they take over the world, and they just take over the world. But China have censored it so that Gru stops being a supervillain at the end, goes home to his children, and becomes the best dad that he can be, which is great. But if you don't like the Minions movie, China needs to start making their own movies. You know, recently they changed the ending of Fight Club. And I don't know if there's like the Matrix and things like that, but if it doesn't fall within the parameters of what they are trying to tell, it's like mind control. You know, what are they going to do next? Like ban music, or you know, if it's like Slipknot or something, are they going to change the words to make it only be about unicorns and daisies? It's you can't do that. And my fear is that we're going down a similar path to China. You know, look at China had the one child rule. What is that? Obviously for their population, but and that's been stopped. I believe it's a 3-child rule now. Don't mark my words on that, but you're telling people how to live their lives, and you know, anytime that's ever happened in the history of Earth, it doesn't work. You can't tell people what to do. What was the point I was trying to get? Oh yeah, like video games. You know, a little while ago, China have said, right, I think if you're under the age of 18, you can play 2 hours of video games a week, and you get your gamer ID. So you have to put your gamer ID in. I don't know if there's a way around it, but in some countries, you know, Fortnite has been banned because of some of the characters portrayed. They're not family friendly enough. You know, and you're stopping people living their lives. You know, It's kind of like the war on drugs. Drugs are bad. I'm not saying drugs are good, but people can still go out and get them whenever they see fit and whenever they please. Um, but you can still go into a supermarket, buy a big bottle of Jack Daniels. If you own a car, you can sit at home in a bad mood or trying to get in a good mood. You can be in a good mood. You could drink that whole bottle of Jack Daniels, go and crash your car into someone's house, and start an inferno or do anything like that. But the difference is they're saying that's legal. So where do you draw the line? Because if it was up to me, alcohol would be illegal. Um, it's one of the most dangerous drugs. Alcohol in supermarkets doesn't even have warning labels on it, but cigarettes do. Sweets, sweets have gone up in price thanks to Jamie Oliver, but they don't have pictures of fat unhappy kids on them, do they? So I don't know. I think the way that I look at this and the way that you should look at this is, if it doesn't affect you, mind your own business. You know, it's like the history of the world. We don't, as human beings, we don't like everything that's put in front of us. You don't have to look at it. It's like the media and the news. I don't read the media and the news very much anymore. Um, my mum is a great example of this. She will read the Daily Mail, and whatever they tell her, it will be gospel to her, even though it's complete and utter trash. It's nonsense. They're pushing an agenda. If you watch it and do everything the news says, they're the puppet masters. You know, and it's up to you whether you want to be a puppet or you want to be an individual that has your own mind, your thoughts, your feelings. Um, I just don't understand where they're trying to go with this. There are obviously some people out there with weaker minds. So these a lot of these young kids, they're watching Andrew Tate, but I don't know. They're doing his course and they're trying to get confident, and they're a bit gullible to the world. You know, he's saying, "Look, I have a Bugatti. Would you like me to tell you how you can be a top G like me and get all these women?" He just has massive confidence. Um, you know, whether it's whether it's correct confidence or whether it's an overinflated, self-inflated ego, it doesn't matter. If you want something in this world, you just have to go out and get it. You don't need somebody telling you you can do that. It's quite good though if you suffer with low confidence and you have someone that you trust and you look up to, like role models like David Beckham, and you can have is it Tom Holland, the Spider-Man, or whatever. If young kids, they look at people and they have a good role model, but role models, they're like false idols on the surface. As long as they're doing good, they can be a role model, but the second they do something bad, then they're no longer your role model. So would you cancel them? Would you cancel them too? If David Beckham had a sex party or something like that, would that be unacceptable for your children to look up to him anymore? Or if you know, I'm trying to think off the top of my head here. If anyone that's in with a big audience had an opinion that offended you, are we just going to cancel them too? Do they not have the right to their opinion anymore? It's very, very, very dangerous topic. And I'm removing myself pretty much from all social medias. I've cancelled my TikTok. Facebook I don't use anymore. Instagram is rubbish. I don't use it. They don't even update the feed. You're looking at the same thing for 3 days in a row. You know, it's the worst platform. I use YouTube to make a catalogue of you know, almost like a time, what do you call it, a time portal. So, you know, in years to come, I can look back and review my videos for entertainment, especially my gaming. You know, because I'm interested seeing the progression of gaming, and where we finally end up, because I think it's what Fortnite is, a game that I play often. It's the best game I think I've ever played, um, and I want to look back on it. You know, we could have much worse games in the future, so we look back at this, and then the videos will be popular because we don't have anything as good as what we've already had. Or it could be, you know, you're playing the best game in the world, but it's all memories. It's all things that you're capturing in time, and you only get one chance at it as well. So a lot of these comments that Andrew Tate says, they're quite flippant comments. Um, you know, things once they're recorded and they're put in the public domain, it's very difficult to take back. So my advice is just take things with a pinch of salt and just let people be people, unless they're being, you know, so overtly um, against everything anyone should stand for. Right, I've got 6 seconds left, so I'm going to draw it there. But yeah, have a nice day, everyone.